Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Death by Pony. Today we're hopping back into our life. So without further ado, let's hop in.
Perfect.
Your thoughtfulness is appreciated, James, and so is your body heat. You don't need to thank me for everything. Sudden cough from Cove that made you remember exactly where you were. When you looked from over Baxter's shoulder, Cove glanced away as he awkwardly scratched his cheek. Wow, get a room. Baxter's chest rumbled in a low laugh, nodding in agreement as he released you from his embrace. He did, however, allow his arms to settle comfortably around your shoulders. Baxter then gave the group a once-over. Miranda and Terry were still chattering their teeth. Cove, in spite of his claims, on the contrary, wasn't doing too hot either. It would be no trouble if we were to return now. I surely don't mind if the car gets wet. Randy and Terry vehemently and loudly disagreed with the suggestion. It's a rental. They'll probably charge you if we track all this water in. Not exactly. We can at least wait until we're not dripping everywhere anymore, right? Even if we're not all the way dry. He glanced at the car, then to the others. Baxter already started reaching for the door handle. When they disagreed, he allowed his hand to fall to his side. I suppose it would be tragic to ruin the leather upholstery. Thank you. It is kind of you to be so considerate.
In that case.
And certainly my acquaintance will appreciate it. Terry mouthed acquaintance to Miranda, then over to you, to be met with equally confused shrug from you both. Cove shook his head until water started flying from his hair. It splattered against the side of the car, already wet from the sprinklers earlier. Hey, Cove. If it's fine with Baxter, then we can stay a while longer. Absolutely. Staying longer didn't mean staying still, though. You and the others walked down the sidewalk, sandals and shoes scratching with the residual wetness that made your way through the neighborhood. But not your neighborhood.
So
It's weird that it doesn't smell like the ocean. Cove's nose crinkled as your head perked up. He smiled as if to confirm you two had been on the same page the minute he even mentioned it.
Yes.
I find the scent of lawn clippings rather relaxing personally. Huh, okay. Your band of five continued to meander past the street sign, and Terry narrowly managed to avoid getting her shoe stuck in a gap in the concrete. You know something? I know a lot of somethings, Miranda offered, cheekily grinning from ear to ear, that she looked in your direction. Good work, Randy, but I don't know how we got from the beach to here. It's a very important quest for an ice cream truck, remember? She swatted Baxter in the side with her free arm. He rubbed at the place, and you wondered if it actually hurt him or if it was for the dramatic. Hey, you can add sprinkler running to your list of water-based summer activities. And since we're talking about your past water exploits, Cove already 10 stepped before Terry even asked the questions. How do you end up skinny dipping anyways? Cove dropped his hand shaking in disbelief, while Miranda snorted quietly, oh my gosh. It was tempting to point out that Cove was the one who brought up the water-based activities to get Baxter's sprinkler running in the first place, but you resisted the urge. Impressive siege, Terry. What? You guys aren't curious? I'm just asking what we are all thinking. The people want to know. I'm the people. It wouldn't have been obvious, he responded, at all, if it wasn't for the slight pressure against your shoulder. Baxter gave a half shrug with his free arm. It's not nearly as intriguing as you might imagine.
Honestly.
I believe it was about 3 years ago when I was vacationing at a lake cabin and was dared to buy those in my company. A dare. A tale as told old as time. I believe I was around midnight and the water was freezing, but it did make for a memorable trip. As I said, it isn't a particularly remarkable story. When you'd heard the sparse details, it was easy to believe that seemed exactly like the kind of thing that Baxter would do. He may be accommodating, but the minute that Cove challenged him to something, it was on.
Wow.
More remarkably was today's adventure. I wager it was not every day that I am able to go running through the sprinklers or chase an ice cream truck across the city, much less with such delightful company. Oh, you. Terry let one hand dangle daintily. Her opposite one was covering her mouth as she acted like one of the many old ladies you could find around Sunset Bird. Baxter didn't reply, gaze now fixed on the sidewalk in front of him as you all continued ahead, one square of concrete after another. Not truly. It reminded me I'm not nearly as old as I might sound. He grazed the back of his neck with his hand, holding it there. Then he stared up at the sky. It was clear he wasn't staring at the clouds. He was searching for something past it. Wasn't there anymore. Yeah, yet the last time I've done anything of this nature was when I was a child running around with my old friends and causing havoc to our poor, unsuspecting town. We're happy too. Glad you suggested it. Still keep in touch with the old friend. Is this different than what you normally do with your college friends? He smiled at him welcomingly. You looked quietly out in the distance, listening. We're happy to. Baxter hummed comfortably allowing the conversation to lapse into silence. The twilight stroll would continue until the sky turned dark and the street lamps flickered on. Even as night fell, you thought there might still be a chance to cling to the thread of this day. Everyone was sufficiently dried enough anyway to not consider yourselves liabilities when the vehicle came into view, Cove mumbled. Staying outside in swimsuits until it's nighttime and getting ice cream, it's really like we're kids again. Not just like being kids, but kids on vacation. Well, Baxter is on vacation, but it's like someone's birthday or the 4th of July. Fireworks! Baxter dropped his keys, startled when Terry suddenly screamed.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He waved off the apology, kneeling down to pick them up. That was the second time his attempt to open the car had been interrupted. Perhaps the third time would be the charm. What was that about? We can't go home just yet. I just remembered there's fireworks today. Cove and Miranda looked over one another before they turned their scrutiny onto Terry. For what? I think to celebrate an opening or something. We'll probably can't get into the real event, but we can see it with our eyes for free. She made it 2 circles with her hands, holding them up to her aforementioned eyes as she advanced closer to Cove, who lightly pushed her back with a hand. They can't stop the public out from seeing explosions in the sky. Really, another last-minute rush trip? Cove considered the suggestion, but ultimately shook his head no. I thought we were ready to head home. Ah, come on, Cove, don't be a wet blanket. Terry wrote him off, likely aware that Cove could not help being wet. Turning to face you, Miranda, Baxter, the 3 that stood in the way of her night, continued for an hour or 2 more.
So?
What about you, James, Randy, Baxter? Want to see some fireworks? Terry continued on without waiting for an answer. Isn't today all about summer experience? What's more summer than fireworks? It's fireworks. We gotta go. I was right. That's too much. Didn't say anything. Fireworks. Fireworks. I guess they are fireworks. All right, whatever. What's one more scene change?
I'm on it.
Yes, I knew this was going to be a good idea. In turn, the 4 of you, 4 sets of eyes looked to Baxter, the driver. His answer made or broke the plan. He chuckled softly. And for a penny and for a pound, I'll go.
Honestly.
Generally, there's nothing better to occupy my time tonight. You better hurry or you might miss it. Cove rolled his eyes in laughter. There was no time to lose. The fireworks were sure to start soon. If you didn't want to miss any part of it, that meant you needed to book it now. The gang hurried into the car and were slowly blessed with warmth after Baxter turned the heater and began to kick in. Terry wiggled in her seat, proudly announcing that she had the additional gift of seat warmers to the envy of everybody else in the car. However, the goal wasn't to sit there enjoying the modern accommodations. It was to get back out of the car as quickly as possible. It took a while to get out of the winding streets of the neighborhood, but eventually Baxter reached the freeway and zipped straight into the city. For the second time that day, we were met with the silhouettes of skyscrapers in the near distance, but now they were illuminated by explosive bursts of green and purple. It's starting! Oh, are we gonna miss it? Baxter's hand rested the gear shift, digits curling against the handle before he switched into the right lane and exited off the freeway. Wait, the GPS said, no, there's somewhere outside the city that I intend to visit. I believe we can stop by there and catch the show. It's unblocked viewing area.
Oh, yeah.
Baxter, you are brilliant. Pedal to the metal. Unless you're already speeding, then don't go any faster. Cove and you turned towards Miranda, but she was hardly paying attention. Her hands covered her cheeks as she cheered Baxter on, while simultaneously advocating for traffic safety. Baxter tightened his grip on the wheel, changing a few more lanes before he exited and threaded through another tangle of local streets. Eventually, the car rumbled to a stop at a waterside path that appeared in the dark. Everyone piled out, one after the other, sprinting from the parking lot. Cove, Miranda, and Terry scrambled up the edge of the path at the water's edge. Baxter stayed in the middle between the start and the end, folding his arms as he hovered behind the crew. His eyes were less fixated on the sight unfolding before you, and they were focused on the other three. High in the sky and far away, it was the perfect way to watch fireworks, less crowded than it would have been in the city and quieter than it would have been there too. It was kind of funny. You and your group lived in or around the city almost all your lives, and it was Baxter who found this place for you to enjoy. Tourists did tend to put in the effort to find scenic spots. People who could theoretically see something every day didn't always take the opportunities around them. Ooh! Randy pointed to the golden firework and beamed.
Woo!
Ah, that's so cool. Terry held up a hand for a high five, and Miranda obliged her. Terry whooped and shot you a smile.
Hey.
What color do you think the next one will be? Without giving Baxter a glance, Cove answered immediately. Green. It was orange. Baxter chuckled. It wasn't interested in calling Cove out for being wrong. Is that your favorite color? Green? It's one of them. I think that's nice. It matches you. And is yours black? That's one of them. Cove smirked just a little and left the conversation there. Yeah, we're spending time with Baxter. Baxter had continued watching the other three. He suddenly turned left. His eyes were on you as soon as you'd gotten near.
How are you?
How do you do, James? Enjoying the view? Yeah, it's gorgeous. I think so. You shrugged. Honestly, I'm freezing. A little uncomfortable being out here. It's gorgeous. Well, that is no small relief, I will say. The others had taken notice to your absence at the waterfront and had begun migrating the crowd farther back. Baxter glanced over his shoulder when he noticed you staring at something behind him. He waved as they jogged to the car side.
What's wrong?
Is everything okay? And are you? Miranda's brows knitted together with clear worry. We can head home if you're not. Yeah, it's no problem. They were sweet for worrying, but you shook your head. It wasn't that you were upset. You were just happier where you were, same as Baxter. I'm fine. Don't worry. You're missing the show. You can watch it where you want to.
Is that all right?
Well, if you're sure. Still, despite your reassurance, Cove searched eyes for any answers to the contrary. Do you want me to stay back with you? You don't have to, could you? It's fine. You should go with Miranda and Terry. You nodded at his offer. You don't have to.
It's okay.
I know I don't have to, but I want to. It's fine. Go over there. Cove smiled softly before quietly retreating. He stopped to take another look at you on his way to the water's edge, but eventually he relented as you waved him on. We need time to flirt with Baxter, and we don't need Cove cramping our style. He's our best bud, but needs space. Baxter picked a good place to watch from. Every point and every angle of the view was dazzling. The fireworks sprayed colors across the sky. For a moment, you were holding your breath before whatever came next. No words could adequately describe that anticipation. Try as Terry might, you could still hear her cheer at every new spectacle. It had been nice and toasty in the car, but since you were outside and not moving, you couldn't help wrapping your arms around yourself, trying to trap in warmth. Baxter tilted closer, but kept enough distance between you to remain polite. His eyes met yours in wordless invitation, half tilting an arm in case you needed to come closer. You rested your head against his shoulder. You took his hand. You wrapped your arms around his. You snuggled up with him. We're gonna snuggle up with him. You slid into his arms, a puzzle piece fitting into the right place. He hummed low and agreeable as he held you close enough to press his warmth into you. You could feel his heartbeat through your thin clothes. He adjusted your position so that you could both see the fireworks and rested his head comfortably on top of your shoulder. Your eyes continued to search the sky when Baxter spoke up. His voice was impossibly quiet in ways that things are when it was important.
You're incredible.
You look amazing. Do you know that? The fireworks show immediately became unimportant. They might have all fizzled out into nothing as far as you've been aware. Oh, thank you. Why did you say that? You were too embarrassed to reply. Do you know you're wonderful? Blinked in confusion. I don't think so. Do you know you're wonderful? The corners of his eyes crinkled as his gaze settled on the horizon, though you couldn't tell if it was out of amusement or the situation or some unexpected shyness. The dim light, you could make out the glare of fireworks in his eyes. They hadn't vanished after all. I've been meaning to tell you that all day since we were at the beach. When we were talking side by side after the ice cream truck left, and in your bedroom. What? Nothing stood out in your memory as particularly unique. It was so natural, the time you'd spent together, but now that he'd gone and said it, you had to accept the reality that he had been anticipating this since the very beginning. The whole time Baxter had been waiting for the opportunity to say something.
Honest.
It may surprise you to know I am not adept at picking my words. I care a great deal about what I say and that it makes the correct impression, yet I'm not always successful. My approach is off, really. Fortunately, even I could realize there wasn't a right moment to tell you that. Then we got here and I thought this was what feels right. I hope I'm not wrong after all, but even if I am, the words are still true all the same.
So charming.
So you look amazing. And even after all that, I fear amazing does not adequately express what I think. How regrettable. Smiled at him. We're gonna cuddle even closer. He said nothing else as he welcomed the embrace. When you listened for his heartbeat, you heard the thrum of hummingbirds' wings. One explosion of color followed by another, and the exuberance of your friends couldn't be measured. You'd seen fireworks before. There weren't anything new, but all those times you attended events before, it wasn't anything close to this. You nearly missed it, and it wasn't even a show, really, for you to see. That's what made it special, the effort it took for you to get there, the place you were watching from, and the people that you were watching with. The final firework took center stage, dozens scattered across the sky, and the sparks of them descended into the sea below. It was as if they impossibly far away distant stars, and yet also close enough to reach out and touch them. In the back of your mind, you knew that there would likely never be another day exactly like that one. When it was over, it'd be over forever, and that made it a precious experience. You vowed to hold on to your memories, feelings, and this one single moment for as long as you possibly could. Ah! The man. Hot. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to hit like. That way I know you're enjoying the videos, and remember to subscribe. That way YouTube brings you back here to see what's next, and I won't take up any more of your time. Have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.